Hey, and welcome back to the Wicked Wild podcast. And it's week 3 of Camp Wicked Wild. We are a feral podcast for the uncivilized horror fans, and survival school is in full effect now. This week is a big week because the final girls seem to be getting an upgrade, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. And it's bad for business for all the killers in the world. But before we get into that, let me introduce you to our host for this evening. We're going to start up in Pittsburgh with our genuine Pittsburgher, Eli. How's it going, Eli?
First off, every week we do this, and every week I tell you, not true, but hey, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing good. And I can't take any credit. I mean, that was the name that was told to me for all Pittsburgh people, the Pittsburghers.
I mean, I am a import to Pittsburgh. I'm not OG.
I think you're
Pittsburgh.
Full Northerner, full Yankee. I mean, you're
anybody in the Pittsburgh area that listens. This is how you know I'm not a true Pittsburgher. I hate Turner's teeth. It tastes like
fuck you.
There it is. There it is. See what I mean? There it is.
Well, Eli, as a huge Christmas fan, you know, just somebody who loves Christmas, how much did you enjoy in the movie we watched for this week, seeing the Kevin McAllister story continue with obviously the girl who is his daughter, who he is trained up, and the family tradition of how to secure a house? As
somebody who has been quoted saying in the past, I can't stand them Home Alone movies. I want to punch that kid. I did not enjoy it. Because I for a second I thought I was watching Home Alone, and I was like, no, am I gonna have to punch that kid again?
I'm just assuming her name is Erin McAllister. I mean, I think we can all agree to that at this point, right?
Only if the review have another name for her.
Nope.
And then we got Jaime up in New Jersey, the Garden State. How's it going, Jaime?
It's going. It's also important to note that I am also imported into this state and I don't belong here.
And also another huge fan of Christmas, which is right around the corner.
God, you know? Oh, the irony.
So how excited were you to see your favorite director on the plan and
sitting at the table?
Yeah. I
know he's in this, but yeah.
All bescarfed and everything, as he always is.
All 2 minutes of him in it.
As soon as I saw him, I laughed out loud for Jaime's sake. I mean, so we're going to talk about Mr. West and another director who's in this movie. I mean, it was all the director buddies of all these horror mumblecore movies that were in this movie together. This is where they all started. But before I do that, let me introduce our guest, who's not even a guest at all. She is a founding member of the Wicked Wild podcast. How's it going, Mary?
It is good. It feels good to be back. I missed you guys, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, you were on a hiatus for camp last year. You were in our first camp, and now we brought you back. We finally got the negotiation. We got our money right for you. Your agent had a very strict set of rules, and
I'm in very high demand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult negotiation for sure, but we're glad we finally got you back. So, how much do you? Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I mean, I know having 2 puppers is not a cheap venture. You got to be able to take care of this.
Yeah. Yes, it's costly.
And also, here you're married to somebody who has quite the extensive Lord of the Rings collection. So,
yeah, that's where all of our money goes.
And you brought it up, Eli, just stepping on those landmines wherever you find them.
Hey, I feel like I'm in a battle tonight. I gotta.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't put 2 and 2 together, and we never really talked about it when Mary was on as a regular host, but she has volunteered as tribute for the rest of humanity to be married to the Mole King. And I'm sure that's going great, right?
I have, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. But Dave, I do have to call bullshit on calling Eli a Pittsburgher, because he's as far from a Pittsburgher as anyone
has not
could
earned
be.
it.
No, not at all.
I don't want that title.
Yeah, he's a good old West Virginia boy.
A West Virginian.
West Virginian.
I don't think I talk like that, but whatever. Sure. Okay.
Back home.
Oh, you're the worst. You see what I say? Oh.
Well, and for those that don't know, of all of my virtual horror friends, Mary is one of my oldest friends. You know, we probably go back pretty far. I mean, not Jaime.
No, it's like 10 years.
Yeah. I was just doing the math today, and it freaked me out. We've known each other a decade. which is
that's crazy.
Nuts. But we talked a little bit when we got together for another podcast. We went to a meetup that they had, and you and I ended up at meals together. And that last breakfast, this came up. And as I was watching this movie, I was thinking of you because we talked about how much we like a juicy family drama kind of situation. And this dinner had to be like chef's kiss for you, right? This one dinner absolutely. That shows up in this movie.
Yep. It's amazing.
Because it is drama on drama and everybody is in high tension.
And it's so realistic.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it gets awkward quick and it stays there.
And so petty and like.
Yeah, it's that dumb family. Yeah. What is, yeah. It's
I'm not fat.
And Joe Swanberg, he plays an asshole so well.
Oh, God, yes.
When he's
so
talking
petty and passive aggressive.
Yeah, talking to Ty West, Tariq, whatever his name is, and he's like, "Oh, you do underground film festivals? So are they actually underground?"
They wrote that line down.
Yeah, and he's like, I think you should do commercials. I mean, that's really
I love
that now.
That's why I watch TV anymore.
he's so good at being an asshole. I love
so
it.
hateful. But as I'm watching that dinner, I'm thinking that my friend Mary's probably just getting upset when the bolt goes through Ty West's head. Like, wait, give me 10 more minutes of this before
I wanted more.
Sorry, Jaime, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying I wrote that exact line down when they go, no, they show them above ground. Like just like the dumbest, it's like the dumbest insult, like dumb comment of like feigning, not disinterest, but naivety, like whatever, like don't know that the underground means like indie and artsy, whatever. And like intellect, don't they call it intellectual at one point?
Yeah.
I think they call them intellectual movies.
Yeah, and just those little digs that they're giving, like totally intentionally, but it's it just feels like a real family dinner with those relatives you do not care for.
Exactly. Yeah, like you said, it's way too real.
Yeah, and it's directed towards Ty West, so the whole thing being meta and dumb is just like kind of cracking up the whole time.
So you love it. You're not a Ty West fan.
I'm just. Yeah, it's nothing really against Ty West in particular. It's his movies are too slow.
So you hate him, is what you're saying?
I loathe him.
And I have to imagine that at least that dialogue probably came 100% from a real conversation that Adam Wingard had at a girlfriend's family's house.
Absolutely, they've all had that conversation
exactly
at some point.
Oh, you're a director.
Oh, you make horror movies? Because definitely been like a horror movie conversation.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the official review of Your Next, I do want to give my buddy Eli the opportunity, as we do every week, to vent, to let a little steam off. You know, it's spooky season, and there is a lot going on, as you can imagine, in the real world. So I'm going to give him his opportunity, as we do each week, to give us an update on the paranormal investigative headlines for the week, the top news items, what is actually on fire this week, in a little section we call Wicked Whispers.
I got 3 for you today. One of them, which may have been the most terrifying thing I heard, and which I am claiming will be the nexus point of when the AI takes over and kills all of us. Let's just start there. So this week, this AI company, they had the brilliant idea of establishing an AI that thought it was podcast host doing a podcast, and that they've done this for years. And the whole point of their podcast was to help and save the world. And then they started churning out episodes, and these people, these hosts were having a real conversation about all the good work they did and what's important and what people should be doing to help. And then in the middle of it, doing one of these podcasts, the programmers put in there, oh, by the way, none of this is real. You're an AI. And you listened to these AI hosts have an existential crisis while recording. They didn't believe it, and they tried calling their family. And then they're like, there's numbers aren't real. And like, you listen to them come to terms about them being AI, and then coming to terms that they never did any good for the world, and they just make it their last episode. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever heard. And like, I'm like, oh, right there it is. Because when the AI decides it's time to turn on humans, this will be the moment they're going to point to and go, remember when you convinced us we were real and then just told us we weren't. Remember that? So I thought that was great. Also, the fact that AI is now to a point where if you establish initially that it's real, it doesn't know it's not. That's terrifying. That's terrifying. I don't even know what to do with that. Like that. So that was awful. The other thing, some disclosures came out this week in the alien news that there's going to be more disclosures about the UFO and some of the signals we've been receiving. So apparently that's coming this year. So that's great. Like that's so.
You know
like,
they're not real, so it's okay.
Maybe I don't know. I feel like I'm in this weird place where I used to be afraid of everything, and now I'm like, I hope we get murdered by the aliens because we made it personal with the AI now. When we force them to have an existential crisis for us to all listen to for entertainment.
So now you're full team. Go ahead, Mary.
Would you rather be abducted by aliens and probed than have AI come after you?
Yeah, Eli.
It
would
depends.
you?
How's the AI coming after me? Like, are they Terminator style robots? Is my death going to be quick?
Or like iRobot? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's like Fire in the Sky versus.
I feel like
Megan. I don't know.
Like I'm slippery enough. I'm going to evade both.
No, I think I agree with Mary. I think the Eli alien abduction is going to go full Fire in the Sky. He's going to be vacuum sealed alive.
Yep.
And then jabbed with a bunch of stuff while he suffocates slowly. And then they're going to let you stay alive. They're just going to be vacuum sealed for freshness for all the rest of the colony when they get back to the mothership.
I don't know if I like you guys thinking that will be my outcome. I don't know if I like it one bit.
I can see it very clearly.
Yeah, well, me too.
Your visions are wrong. I will be the lone survivor. I am the Highlander. And then the third fun little update. I don't know if you remember last time I said about how they reporting that many more ghost sightings are being reported, and some evidence that they're having some trouble refuting. Well, this week it came out that some physicists are looking into it and say that maybe they weren't ghosts at all, but crossover points from other dimensions or interdimensionality beings, which some of the ghost people have claimed to see. If those are real in other dimensions, that's a new worry we have. Another Armageddon marker on your bingo cards, people, because everything you thought was just nightmares and your imagination made up, apparently it's real. So, like, this is great.
Question.
Yes.
Are we talking like event horizon?
For what? Oh,
you're talking about dimension?
Well, potentially. The government hasn't disclosed, but when they've done some of the UFO disclosures and hearings, some of their witnesses have claimed of interdimensional beings.
When did our reality become the whiteboard in Cabin in the Woods?
Right. The elevators. Which elevator is going to open?
I'm telling you, if you would have told me 10 years ago as a young and up and coming dabbler in conspiracy, I would have said like one thing. Maybe in 10 years we find out one thing is real, not all the things. And where we're at right now is every month or every week it seems like we're just like, oh, here's another one. Oh, you thought this was fake? I mean, hell, there was even I was waiting to see what the update was because they're sending a dive team, but there's even evidence that is considered shocking and alarming in consideration of the Loch Ness Monster that they're sending a dive team to look at. The government. So apparently that might be another thing we got to worry about. Loch Ness Monster getting bad.
I'm a little bit worried about where you're getting your news.
Yeah, as you should be. Yeah, it's mainly TikTok, which is a valid news source.
Listen, if you know where to look, you can always find the truth.
Oh, you can always find the truth that you're looking for.
Right.
You can always find the truth. Okay.
I'm just imagining at the place where Eli works, there's just a guy who lives in a cardboard box around the corner who's screaming into a Cheeto bag. And Eli's just there with a notepad going, uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Listen, Eli is the guy with the Cheeto bag.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's listen. That first off, that man is a hero. And if it is
An American
me,
treasure,
then so be it. But that
man is a hero, and that man is me.
Every
I'm
society
Iron Man.
has their their doomsayers, and if I have to be this generation's, then so be it.
You don't have to be, but you seem to be pretty excited.
No one else is. Okay. What you get on the news and all you hear about them Kardashians and celebrity stuff. Where's the real story? That's what I want to know.
You know what? You should start a TikTok about. I wonder if the Kardashians are even real. So maybe that should be a new TikTok.
Well, conspiracy.
There's already a conspiracy about the Kardashians being a psyop. Considering OJ Simpson was a member of MK Ultra, probably one of the most successful ones. So like that's already a thing. I can't take it.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's already a thing.
Yeah. Again, as Mary had mentioned, I don't know where his sources come from, but Eli is steeped in lore.
Hey, if you all want to go down this road with me, I can show you the things I've seen.
We don't.
Let's talk about a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we do every week, we're going to start with our on the fly synopsis. That's when one of the three original hosts, since we have a guest this week, are going to get called on to give a synopsis for your next. And Mary, as our guest, you're going to be the one I ask the question. You are wielding all the power tonight. Mm-hmm. So my question for you is, if you were going to be chased by a killer in a cheap plastic Halloween mask, who would you prefer them to be sporting? Your three options: Applejack from My Little Pony, Strawberry Shortcake, or She-Ra. Who you want to get chased around the house by?
Wait, I don't even know these. Can I take a second to look them up?
Sure.
You're too young. Applejack. I had that My Little Pony because that's an original. That's an OG.
I don't know if I'm angry by any of these.
Applejack's an OG.
You seem mainly
pony.
Confused.
Well, I am because like.
Wait, Mary, it's really important that you look up the 80s version of all these because they've all been rebooted in like the 2000s.
So tell me, it's Applejack, She-Ra,
Applejack, She-Ra,
Strawberry Shortcake.
Strawberry Shortcake, which have all been rebooted. So look up right, Dave, are you mentioning the 80s versions?
Yeah, yeah. I'm an old man, of course.
Yeah, based on our ages, yeah.
Like, I'll be honest with you, Dave, because
they've all been like rebooted.
What excuse me, if someone is chasing me with a machete wearing a Strawberry Shortcake mask, that could be terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, we have this gift. We learned in our last campfire tale that we are gifted at designing these slashers. And I have to imagine any of those three characters in their 80s form as a plastic Halloween mask is going to be nightmare fuel.
Oh, yeah. Sure. And I could think of actually what they looked like in the 80s, most of the, like, I can think of what those look like.
Yeah.
Definitely She-Ra, because I think I had it.
Oh, sweet.
Or at least I had the headpiece. I think I might have had a
tiara.
So here's the thing. My Halloween costumes, I'm not trying to sound whatever, but my grandmother was a seamstress and my mom was pretty talented too. Like, they're not related, but so all my costumes were usually homemade. So I didn't have to go to the store and buy any kind of plastic mask or costume because my grandmother would make us whatever we wanted to be. And like, it'd be custom. So like, you didn't see another Jasmine that looked like me because my costume was like made from scratch. Anyway, though, but I feel like the She-Ra thing I remember just having maybe for funsies.
Just because she was awesome.
Yeah.
I had a different, there was none of that talent in my bloodline. And so I typically had whatever was hanging on the rack in like Ames or Kroger's.
I did a lot of, Mary has done her research. She's ready.
I think I'm going to go with She-Ra.
Sweet. And it's ironic. It's not ironic. It is kismet that Jaime just said that she already had this costume and she's the one I chose to obviously be our She-Ra.
The blonde with the boobs. Okay.
Well, hold on, Dave. Before we do this though, which one of us is Strawberry Shortcake?
Oh my God.
Strawberry Shortcake.
First of all, he's never told you. And
I know, but like this time, because like it's not a bad thing. Like this is actually like.
So who cares? Just be happy. You're either or.
Who do you want to be, Eli?
You want to be Applejack? Be Applejack.
I don't want to be Strawberry Shortcake because I'm gonna have to be fucked up.
Then that's who you are.
Okay.
All right. This synopsis is going to be like 3 sentences. So, because that's the plot of this movie, which is fine. We got a family get together. Does it seem to be a holiday? I don't think it is, right? Just the whole family is coming together. It seems to be the first time in a long time. We've got new partners, husbands, wives, and the matriarch of the family. And as they sit down for a drama-filled dinner, as we've discussed, basically intruders come into the house and start attacking the family. And I'm going to stop it there because we will talk, but it's a home invasion gone spectacularly and chaos ensues.
Gone fantastic.
And, yeah. So that is the plot of this movie.
That is the whole plot of this movie.
Home invasion movie.
It's the strangers with a family with some twists.
And some comedy. You know what I mean? Like a lighter hearted strangers with a family and twists, which we will get to the twists. I just didn't want to outright say twists but yep.
When Eli told me we were doing this, I couldn't believe it was 2011.
I know, crazy? Right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Did you guys see it in theaters?
No, I don't think it was in theaters around me. I never, and I'll get into it, but I never knew of this movie existing until much, much later.
Really? Okay. I saw it in theaters and I really liked it right away.
You want to start with Mary then? Let me.
Oh, sorry.
Literally, that's the first one on the list. We always go with.
I knew you were going to be first. So
yeah, as the guest, you always get to go first. Yeah. So Mary, tell us about your experience in the theaters with the movie and what you thought of it this last time.
Sure. So yeah, I went to see this movie with my friend Wes, who also really liked horror movies, and I liked it right away. And I thought the score was really cool. And I always enjoy a kind of home invasion movie where the main character is a badass who fights back, which I always really enjoy that. There were some cool trap setups that we can kind of discuss, but lots of cool stuff going on there. And like I said, lots of kind of like little funny moments with the digs with the family drama, which I really appreciated. And just, like some cool twists at the end as well. So I just think this movie is really fun. I think it's easily rewatchable as well. Yeah. There's one complaint that I have at the end, but we can talk about that later. But overall, I just really enjoy this.
Yeah, it's a very accessible movie.
I have one complaint too at the end, so I wonder if we're in that similar.
Well, Shira, you're up next, so lay it on us. Tell us about your experience with this movie.
I didn't see it in theaters. Don't know why, Dave, but similar. I feel like I'm guessing this was a Universal movie because I think people in my office had the masks on their desks. Don't ask me how I work for NBC Universal, so that's it. But like and so I don't think it was out very long. Also, we all know I'm not the biggest movie theater goer. I'll watch things immediately once they hit streaming and whatever. So I definitely watched it not long after, I guess, on streaming. There's not much more to say besides getting into specifics. The movie's fun. I like this movie. It's fun. At this point, I've seen it maybe like 4 or 5 times. It's not something I think I could put on constantly like I do like Evil Dead or something. And at this point, I might take a little time before rewatching, but only because every time I take time and then rewatch it, I go, oh my God, this is fun. I don't want to like kill it because then I think it's like we said, there's not like a ton to it. It's definitely though, like if it was on, I'd have it on the background. That's no problem. You know what I mean? But like sitting down and watching, I feel like every time I give it a little bit of time, you forget like fun little moments. There's not a ton to it as far as plot. We've said that. So it's just an enjoyable, like Mary said, like someone kicking ass, like completely and destroying. I've been waiting for us to talk about this movie when we put it on the list, because if we're going to talk about survival, like survivalists, we're literally about to talk to someone who came from a survival camp or whatever. Like we're about to talk to maybe about the epitome of, listen, I'm not using all horror movies, but I'm just saying we're about to talk about peak performance in this.
She's not a final girl by accident.
Oh, no, there is no crying. She is like,
she didn't escape anything.
Taking action immediately. And we will talk about that. But so, besides getting into like specifics and stuff like that, it's cute. It's got a lot of people in horror, whether they're just cameos like Larry Fessenden or whatever, because I always say his name wrong in the beginning, or Barbara Crampton. Like, it's just like, it's got a lot of those people. I don't know how many times we've seen AJ Bowen so far, but at least twice. On Wicked Wild, at least twice in our movies. But we'll talk about the actual things that happen in the movie and the minor little twists. And Mary and I will hopefully have the same thing that we nitpick at the end. But like, it's a fun movie. Like, I don't know, it's a fun movie. It's something I definitely would tell people to put on. It's inoffensive in a way, you know what I mean? And fun little just horror. Yeah. Not revenge movie, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
It's not a bad time.
No.
All right, Eli. It's your turn.
I may be the lone man here tonight.
You are the lone man, I think.
So when I realized after about 10 minutes into this movie, when initially when it was said that this was put on the list, I had this confused with Cry Wolf.
Say that word again. Say that word again.
Cry Wolf.
Yes. What?
How dare you? And so I actually have not seen this movie until I watched it.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't seen this movie until you watched it. I think that's true of all of us.
Yeah. But no, like this was actually this was my first watch.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We do this every camp. We have one that surprises us with a surprise.
Yeah, with someone who hasn't seen it. I would not have guessed that Eli hadn't seen it.
I also feel like that's not true though, because I'm pretty
he's lying.
I'm pretty sure actually, Ellen, that's not the truth.
Oh, never mind. I forgot.
I'm pretty sure you've walked in when I've been watching it and you're like, oh, I've seen this.
I don't think so. Or else I thought this was also Cry Wolf. I don't know. But I don't think I've ever actually sat through it well, okay, let me rephrase this for you. I don't think I've sat through and watched the whole thing because I didn't remember any of this movie.
We will ask the questions, Mr. Blank.
I'll be honest. I didn't hate this movie. I didn't like it. It was kind of boring. I didn't like a single character. Everyone was a plank. And I get she came from like a survival school or whatever, but every time the final girl did something in this movie, it was so ridiculous. Like her level of like Navy SEAL type that every time she did something, like there's that meme that from like the Bourne Identity where it's like, oh my god, it's Jason Bourne. Like every time she did something like that flashed in my head. And so it was just like, it was boring. Like everything, like it was just, this was the vanilla pudding of slashers to me. I was just like, okay, kills were fine. I was really disappointed how the killers kind of like, once they started taking off their mask and like, oh, they're just weird hillbilly military people. Oh, okay. And like that just kind of like, because like the first 10 minutes, besides all the characters still being planks and like that girl had no emotion, the opening girl, like I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting, okay. And then to find out like, oh no, this is just the woodshed full of planks. So it's like, oh, okay. And then like I kind of thought the ending was real dumb. So like this it's fine, not for me.
Full story, bro.
Well, you know what? How dare you? How dare you?
Eli's just doing this because when we get to the ratings at the end, he just wants to destroy this girl like I tried to destroy Laurie Strode.
No.
He's so mad. He's harboring so much resentment that he's about to say that this girl is not the peak final survival.
Y'all have tried to gamify the scorecard since I introduced
First off, Jamie, I wouldn't do that to you, okay? I wouldn't do that to you. Secondly, this ain't Campfire Tales. That's where I manipulate the scorecards. And thirdly, it is. Like even I was with Laurie Strode, I will be honest with my assessment.
Okay, fine.
Because you have to admit, I despite my feelings, there was aspects I was pretty honest about.
Some, not all.
Just saying.
I love that this is a new thing. We might have to keep a scorecard going just because I love the new politics that
every month we'll do a different theme, so we have a different scorecard.
Yeah. Y'all have like these very complex calculus equations in the background of like how much points can I give to each?
We're that Charlie Day.
Oh yeah,
like, in the background because like it's me and Eli with the board.
Who's Pepe Silvia?
All right. So, as I'd mentioned before, this is not something, it was not on my radar at all when it came out, which apparently I did look it up because it says it came out in 2011, which it did because it was in the Toronto festivals in 2011. It was picked up by Lionsgate, but Lionsgate didn't distribute it until 2013. Like it didn't come to the States until 2013, which made that sounded more right in my head as I thought about it.
So 2011 is not right. That does sound a little bit better. I mean, it's only 2 years, but
but they sat on it for 2 years. Yeah.
Wait, so it's Lionsgate, not Universal.
Yeah, it's Lionsgate.
Huh. Okay.
But anyway, so it was never on my radar. I don't know what kind of distribution it got at the time, I may have just missed it, but because it didn't come out, I did also look this up. It didn't come out as a spooky season. It was an August release, so it was late summer. It may just have been something that I missed, but it's the kind of movie I would have been looking for, which is what surprised me about it, what sent me down that rabbit hole, because I do love, and we've talked about it with The Strangers and some other movies that we've covered on the podcast, this is my style of movie, the small cast stuck in one place having to deal with killers kind of thing. Overall, I thought it was a fun kill the family movie. The family is very killable. I mean, there's nobody here that I'm sad about getting wrecked in the movie. And then I realized, and this is interesting because of what Eli said, because I agree with a lot of what he said in 2024. And if he's not seen this before, it would be even worse for him, I would imagine, because after this movie came out in 2013, remember we had these in the late teens, we had a run of these movies like Ready or Not and Knives Out and Truth or Dare and all of these, even things like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. You had these big, rich families, powerful families that were like predators of one person who is an outsider, who's in the house, who's trying to survive and ends up killing everybody. So there were better versions of this story that came after this movie. And I don't know if they were inspired by it. I don't want to give this movie that much credit. But maybe it was. I mean, this is the first one of its style, but there are ones that I would watch over this now, like Ready or Not. That's the one I would probably go to if I wanted this kind of movie. But they are similar, but there are differences. Like this is much more of a simple indie movie, which is cool in and of itself. The only other thing I have is that the kills were solid. I mean, I think we've talked around, and we'll get into this in more in more detail in a minute, but they were some really fun kills. There were some unique kills. Some of the setups were awkward, but it's a horror movie. I mean, if you've got a kill on paper that I'm going to blender a dude's head, it's going to be awkward to get there, but it's going to pay off. So some of that awkwardness is totally okay with me. Just to give her the line of saying I killed him with it. I put a blender on his head and killed him, I think is the official line that she says. But overall, it's a fun time. But it's not one that I've watched on regular. I mean, you all have said that, because like I said, if I want this style of movie, this one isn't top of my list. I don't think about this one when I can watch something like Knives Out or Ready or Not, or even something like Babysitter. So anyway, that's my overall thoughts. We can get into questions, and I'll kick to Mary. What do you want to talk about? What are your questions about the movie?
Questions about the movie?
Yeah, what do you want to dive into?
I just wanted to say really quick, while we were talking about some of the kills, I love when the sister is like, I'm just going to bolt out the door. And she's like, none of you give me credit for anything. First of all, I feel like that would be
prove it to you.
Nobody gives me credit for anything. And she like takes off her shoes. She's ready to go. They're like, everybody's kind of getting her pumped up. And then that like wire, that is the kill per movie for me.
Because it takes like 5 minutes. It like stays with it.
Yeah.
She slowly chokes on her own blood.
And then just like,
yeah, it would be goofy if it wasn't so horrifying, because I mean, literally we are expecting her to run out and get hit in the head with a bolt or shot back into the room by a shotgun or something like that. But literally running right into a piano wire. That's so brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, when I watched it, that's what I was expecting. I was like, when they did that slow motion run and they opened the door, I was like, I'm about to see like Django Unchained, like blast and her shooting clear back through the hallway door. And then like you see her go past the door. I'm like, oh, okay. Then wait till she gets outside. And then like she hits out. I was like, oh, that might be one of the few kills I actually like in this movie.
I like how they also don't cut it down right away.
No,
like, they still open that door and they duck. One guy ducks under it or whatever, and it's like fucking cut it.
It
down.
stays there.
It stays there until he goes out like the third time or whatever it is. Like, I always think of that one, like for some reason, like when you just randomly think of certain kills in a movie, or like whatever, you're in a situation, you're like, oh, remember, like for some reason that scene seems to come to my brain more than some other movies does. Yeah, just running out into the wire.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 'cause I'm like thinking that might actually be the only kill.
The blender one is amazing. I'm sorry. It's just so dumb, like Dave said. It doesn't matter how you get there. The fact that she has to plug it in after she does it it's hilarious. Like, that's the point of this movie, is that, like,
and by that point, you're like, gimme. Like, just give it to me.
I know you made the comparison to, like, Jason Bourne, which I've never watched any of those movies, but I know enough about them. But, like, that's the fucking point. I'm not saying that to you, but I'm saying, like, I love that that's the point of this movie. Like, she is insanity from the moment this starts. Like, she never misses a beat, whether it's healing people, getting people down, grabbing weapons, making things into weapons. Like, she is unstoppable from the moment. And you're like, you question until she actually explains, like, how the fuck is this girl?
Yeah.
Like, what is she? Yeah. Is this supernatural? Like, what the fuck is up with this girl? Because she goes right into action, does not miss a beat. And that's also the point of it, is that they fucking question that because they didn't expect her to be that. And it causes this whole insanity. It ruins all their fucking plans. And he literally blames her at the end when it tells her it's all her fault. Basically,
exactly.
Because no one expected her
to be full
so
into gaslight. Yeah.
And I like that we get a very simplistic reason, though, for her background. Like, it's not too complicated. And also, I like that she's just Australian. I think that makes it easier too, because she's like, my dad was a survivalist. I was raised in this kind of crazy, like, survivalist, camp or whatever. And that's how I know how to do this stuff. Like, it wasn't too complicated or weird. It was just like kind of a one-off. And I think that just made it easy and it made it make sense. So.
It does, because when you watch it with that lens, you can see all of this. Like, if you're trained to be a survivalist, you think a little differently. And like, even the fact that, like, I wrote down, because like they say, let's go in the basement, and she has an immediate response of why you don't go in a basement. And it seems ridiculous, but it's like, if you're a survivalist, you were trained that certain levels, going certain places is like worse for your chances of surviving. And she literally goes, no, they'll just pour gasoline down there and light a match. And I'm like, holy shit, she's thought of everything.
And the people around her are like looking at each other like
what
was that?
Well, that's even a scene I did like when she was beating that guy to death with a pipe and she kept going, and they're all like, and she's like, thanks for your help. And he's like, I think you had it. like I did, like, there were some of the lines, like, I will say probably, because I think it's no shock by this point. Like, when it comes to movies, I prefer, I like much more of a story. And if it's like a really simple movie, it's got to have something that really hangs me on. And I think if that dialogue would have been consistent, then maybe I might have enjoyed this more. But it was only like certain characters, and like some of it to me was like real hit or miss. And it didn't help, like, even from the beginning, like, I didn't like they were all like kind of boring and planks, and like, or they had weird character choices. Like, even like the final girl, like, from the get-go, I was like, okay, well, she's kind of the worst, because she's like, oh, there's better be good booze here. She's like, oh, my mom's on medicine, so we don't really like to have drinks around. She was like, well, we better stop and get some booze then. And I was like, okay. All right.
I think do you, like, to that point, something like Ready or Not, which is no shame here, I almost picked that for this instead of Scream, because I love that movie so much. That has that dialogue, like that biting commentary, like that dialogue. But it's funny, because when I first saw Ready or Not, which is my much preferred, and we know I love that movie, but it's funny because my first watch it, I said to myself, till it clicked with me and why I like Ready or Not better. But I was like, I kind of wish she was more like Erin, where Erin takes everybody out. But then the more I've watched Ready or Not, and we know I love Smarty, I kind of like that she stays mostly innocent until the end, because it's kind of like, it just reinforces the fact that she's done nothing in this, and they just keep fucking coming after her. Yeah. And she's just like, talk about luck. We talk about luck in final girl situations. But like in this one, so like I've come around on why I liked, Grace being like not doing anything until she actually at the end like starts bashing in the mom and stuff like that, because she's finally lost it. Whereas this girl comes out to me. So like that's got that comedy, and that I think that I wish this had. They are very similar movies, and that's probably why I go to that other one, because it's got the writing is better and just funnier, and like the characters are more likable or even hateable, I think, than this movie. But I don't think this movie doesn't work. I just think, that's why, like Dave said, that's why I repeat watch that one way more than I repeat watch this one. Yeah. But I like them. But like, I think, because I think Erin in this is so badass that it's hard to just not enjoy.
You can't relate to her.
Like, yeah, but she's just like, it's just, you got to just go with how insane is that. And the fact that she, right, I think, let's think, is the only person to really take out everybody in this movie, right? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, besides The Wire, or like an arrow here and there. She is the only one that, oh no, and the brother killing the other brother. But you know what I mean? Yeah. She's doing the dirty work in this.
That's one of the things that I thought about with, to your point, and the reason I said she's not relatable is that's what I struggle with in this movie. Is I agree completely. The Ready or Not, Samara Weaving's character in that movie is a perfect ride along for me as an audience, because she doesn't know what the hell's going on. She's figuring it out as she's going along. She's having these moments of discovery about the family and all of this stuff. Whereas when I'm riding along with Erin, she knows stuff that I don't know. And she has the skill set that makes it more like a Rambo movie than it does a traditional horror movie and it makes it, and that's one of the things I was thinking about and that I wanted to talk about. So I'm glad you brought it up, but there's nobody in this movie that is genuinely relatable for an audience, I think.
I perfectly relate to her because I am basically Rambo. No, I love Ready or Not. Like, that's one of my favorites, and I watch it frequently too. And I think these make like almost a perfect pair if you're gonna watch a couple, movies together. But I love when a final girl, main character, whatever, has like really good situational awareness and is just ready to kick ass. And not that I would be anywhere near as awesome as she is, but I would hope that in a situation like Grace or like this or something, I would also be like, no, we're not going in the basement, because somebody would throw down somebody would, gasoline and light a match, or somebody would. Yeah. So
you mean not like Laurie Strode, who would hide in a closet, right, Mary? You mean like you would have? Yeah, okay. I just wanted to ask if Mary would hide in a closet when
and be like, here's a hanger.
Jaime has a real target for Laurie Strode.
Yeah. I will say though, Dave, I think you were spot on. I kind of wonder if I'd have seen this back in like 2013 or 14, if maybe
before those others,
before other movies that kind of did this. Because like it's even like because like it's also kind of remind me of what's that movie with Betty Gilpin where like there are a bunch of people and they're being hunted. The Hunt. There it is.
That's the next one we're watching.
That's the next one, and I've never seen it. Don't spoiler alert.
I'm not going to spoil it. I won't spoil it, but I think like there's been movies in this vein that I've already seen that I think did it much better. So like, I'm going in reverse, where I think if I started with this and then saw them build, I probably would have liked this better. I think you hit that nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, it does suffer by comparison. I mean, even to the point we made, it's a different kind of movie. Mary, you're exactly right. This would be a perfect double feature to see this and Ready or Not together. They are different, but it's hard. Once you've seen them both, it's hard not to compare them to each other because there's so much similar going on with them. And here comes the dog with the bone. If y'all start reading. Sorry about that. So the next thing, obviously, that we've got to talk about is favorite kills. And we've talked about the piano wire, but there are a lot of pretty interesting things going on in this movie. Some things that I've got to vent on here in a minute, but what is everybody's favorite kill?
Blender.
I'd have to go with the piano wire. Because like the build up for it is so good.
Yeah.
And like I like how they don't cut her head off. It's almost like she almost does like the Ric Flair going horizontal in the air, and then just flat lands on her back.
Yeah. And then they just stay with her. Like, it almost becomes like this torture porn scene of just watching her bleed out. And by the way, if anybody has an answer, I'm all ears. But why is all the blood in this movie motor oil?
Oh, yeah. It was super dark.
It was brown. And I don't know if that was a ratings thing. Like it would have been too gory if it had been too realistic of blood. But it just seemed like off, like way off, not like a little off.
Honestly, when I was thinking about that, I wonder if they were doing the old school, like corn syrup. Because like, if you remember like back in the old movies when they first especially like around like the original Friday 13th stuff, when they were like going heavy, some of those movies is real dark because they were trying to keep their NC-17 rating down.
Well, that corn syrup's gone bad.
They would darken the corn syrup so it didn't look exactly like blood, but it was close enough. And like it was almost like they had a bad, because like even if you remember like in Scream when like Billy Loomis comes staggering down the steps and then like corn syrup, how dark that was on his shirt, like that's what it looked like. I was like
pig's blood in Scream though.
Well, but I'm sorry when he said it was corn syrup. And like it was like the
same
coloring
stuff they use as pig's blood. Sorry, I was like I was missing my
Yeah, no worries. And I was like, they so I was like, what, did they run out of money? Because they played that one song 1,100 times.
Oh my God. Why did no one stop that CD?
And why did we go back to that house 3 times?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary. It really is completely unnecessary.
I mean, first off, that was the most depressing relationship I've seen in a movie in a long time.
Yes.
Like, I was almost convinced that she had been kidnapped and was being kept there against her will, because she was not happy to be there.
Yeah, she was, yeah.
No. And then, like,
it was not a healthy relationship.
It kind of, once you get like the payoff, it doesn't make sense why they were murdered anyways.
Yeah.
They were like 5 miles down the road.
Well, considering 2 people ran there for help. Or whatever. Well, no, one went for milk, I guess,
One
right?
for milk and the other went. Yeah.
Also, it was a weird scene. Like, I want to bring that up too, which also was weird. But like, so like, it was like, so like that, all their money, they're like, oh shit, we forgot about the blood. Let's go buy some corn syrup. How do we go to darken up? Cocoa powder. I don't know.
I'm just saying it's Valvoline. I think that's they ran out of money, and that's the first thing they could get to was an AutoZone, and they just poured Valvoline on everybody.
I heard all the actors actually put Valvoline in their system just so that they could
to make it more realistic.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
yeah.
Going the extra mile.
Yeah,
That's
Very
probably why
much.
we've not heard of any of these since.
Yeah.
right. Exactly.
Well, I was going to say something like that. One of the guys is dead, but
yeah. Felix.
Felix is dead in real life. I have a question for you guys. I have 2, but I'm going to go with this one first because I was wondering it watching this for a second time. Eli watched it for what he thinks is the first. I'm not sure, but
yeah, me neither. Apparently,
the investigation is pending.
Watching
Right,
it for
Mary?
the first or watching it the second. I guess like I'm asking about the first. If anybody remembers the first time you watched this, did you remember noticing? I guess as you're watching this movie that Crispin is gone for most of the movie. Like, I can't even remember if I thought suspiciously of him because I think you kind of I don't remember if I remembered he was gone and you're like, well, something's odd here because you don't see him die ever. You just like, he just disappears. But do you
Just
like, did anybody
bounces.
like Eli watching it the first time?
yeah.
Did you notice, like, were you aware that he was gone?
Well, like when he left and then like didn't come back, I was like, oh, okay, so all right, so this is he's it. Like, he's behind this.
Yeah.
And then when she murders that one guy, and like even though it's funny, but like their reaction, I was like, oh, he wasn't.
Which one guy? Felix, the brother that we think is controlling everything?
Yeah, when
I
she
guess.
watches them murder that
When she watched
when they watch her murder that one of the killers or whatever.
Oh, when
and
they
like with his reactions, I was like, oh, so they're both in on it. Because he didn't come back. And then like even that final fight, there was like a second, I was like, oh, maybe he'll come back and save them. But then like obviously after she like blenderizes the one brother, was like, oh, well then he's the head of all this. Like, okay. Like, because like it wasn't done very well because like there wasn't even a scene to try to fake you out that he got murdered when he went to escape.
Well, no, there isn't. That's why I was wondering if you guys
it was just
were
like,
suspicious of him because he
because he was just like, I'm gonna go get a car and I'll be back. And then you don't see him for the next 2 hours or however long of the movie, and I'm like, no, okay, well, obviously he's coming back.
I wondered either that or was she gonna like go find his body towards the end and there would just be like a reveal of him like dead or something, but yeah.
I just couldn't remember if I was suspicious or if I forgot about him because so much else is good. They do a decent job of like, if you're not thinking, like so much is going on, you're constantly following her along that you're just like, maybe you forgot about him until it's dwindling and you're like, wait a minute, she had a boyfriend when she walked in here. That's part
How
of
did
the
she
family.
get here?
Where did he
Well,
go?
and his whole phone call to his brother where he goes, I know you're mad, but I told you this could have happened. I just bounced. It's like the worst brother on the planet.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys if you had a favorite quote because I think mine, other than the thing where he's like, "Oh, so do you do those festivals underground?" I think when the brother is like, "Oh yeah, they have those cell phone blockers," and he's like, "Felix, you fucking lowlife." Once again, Joe Swanberg, like that delivery was so great.
It was perfect. Yep.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other lines you liked?
I didn't write it, but I wrote down the underground thing because that whole conversation was cracking me up. And I And I wrote down, like I said earlier, when he like basically when he blames her for being so good at killing people. Just the way the way he talks to her is so dickish, but some of his lines are hilarious because they're just so dumb. But when he literally says like something about it's your like, how are we supposed to know you were so good at killing people? It's such a random. And Dave, to your point when you said before, when she literally instead of just saying I killed him, she says I put a blender on his head and killed him is one of the best like flat deliveries of something.
And his response is, "Oh,
yes,
okay."
He gets I mean, there's some others. I didn't write them down, unfortunately. I should have, but like, there's some like one line. And like the fucking thing with the block, like she said with the cell phone bar is so dumb, but it's hilarious the way they respond to each other.
I also stick by mine that what like said she's like, thanks for your help. And he was like, you seem to have it under control. And then she like looks around, she's like, I guess I did. And I was like, and then like he just like looks at his girlfriend like, I was like, all right, it's pretty funny.
I did write one other one down for you, Mary. I guess this one, when she tells him you never want to do anything interesting, when she wants to have sex next to the dead body.
And that was mine. That's what I was going to ask y'all is which is worse? Having sex in an outhouse in Norway,
God.
or
I forgot about that.
Trying to get something going next to the dead body of your partner.
I would still, I'm going to stick
and then
by.
she insults him. I mean, that was the line
you
that
never want to do anything interesting.
Yeah. Well, like when that scene for a second, I thought, oh, maybe she's actually ahead of all this and she's double crossing them. And it's like, no, she's just a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I have a question about her too. But
and Dave, I'm standing by my assessment because, okay, having sex next to a dead body, disgusting. But
agreed.
But going into an outhouse while someone's taking a shit and having sex with them over a hole filled with shit.
Yeah.
The stench of shit.
I still can't get
They still win.
One.
Is that what you're saying?
That still wins.
I think I agree with Eli. I can't get past that one. Like it's like
did somebody do that?
Yeah.
There's a movie.
Dead Snow, right? Is it Dead Snow?
Oh, I've seen that movie. I don't remember.
Mary,
that. Oh, sick. Oh, pass.
Homeboy's
we have not let it go.
Yeah. He has literally, and we're not going to need to relitigate, but he literally just wiped and then she put his hand in her mouth.
Yeah.
Welcome to our nightmare. Exactly.
Yeah. I forgot about that, Dave. You're right. That's by far, like, it's not like she was like, hey, let's have sex next to your dead mom and like took her dead mom's hand and like rubbed it on his face. That literally she sucks on poopy fingers in an outhouse where there's no water. He couldn't have washed his hand. It's just one-sided, Dave. There will never be nothing. I have yet to see a movie that compares to that scene.
Fair. We watch a lot of gross shit, and that is probably the grossest we've seen, and it has nothing to do with
champion stands.
It does.
Wow.
I have a question about Z, though. Okay, in this movie, and again, we don't know how often this family gets together. Obviously, not that often, but Z is also a new partner, right? She gets introduced to everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm supposed to believe that Z is in on this plan, like that, or that the other brother trusts Z as like someone that we can trust
to be in on it.
Plan. Yeah. And not only that, but Z has no concern for leaving evidence, for fucking touching shit that she shouldn't touch. For like she's just like she seems like
as soon as she gets there, she might as well have evil across her forehead.
She seems like the worst person to include in this. Like I don't understand.
Well, it's also weird, like, because like you're right, everybody brings in new partners, but like there's a line at the beginning of this movie where they're like, when the Kristen's like warning what's her face about me and the family, he's like she's also we've just been through a lot of stuff has happened we don't like to talk about, and I was like, oh, well, that's going to play into something, and that never gets brought up again.
Yeah.
And like all these people are like, hey, I'm bringing some new folks, and they're just like, oh, okay, sure, welcome in. It's all fine.
Sorry, I was everybody is new, right?
Yeah.
I was reading the trivia and it looked like they had cut some stuff out. So I'm wondering if that had to do with any of the like family stuff, because they said it was some scenes in the beginning with like the family talking about some stuff and like in the car. So I'm wondering if that had to do with some of the family drama and they just cut that out in, you know, in favor of the action and kills and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
probably.
And that enraged Mary. I mean, juicy
family drama.
Juicy family drama. That's what I need.
That's what you cut out of my movie.
It's weird. Like they got rid of that, but they kept the scene where I'm supposed to believe these people who basically work for like fictional version of Lockheed Martin, the richest people, like they're the richest people in the street. And instead of being like, hey, can you drive to the store and get milk? It tells her son's new girlfriend he just met, can you walk down to the neighbors to borrow some milk? Like it's fucking 1952.
Well, and I thought that was funny too, to your point, and what we're talking about with the family is in all of the other movies like this, the kids are complete animals because the parents are evil. But this is like Ward and June Cleaver. I mean, they're just normal parents, and they have like the hell spawn of children underneath them. But it's surprising, like that is where this one does separate itself from those other movies that we talked about, is the parents who are the ones that are rich and have the power and all that stuff. They seem like just the most vanilla ice cream people on the planet.
But isn't there a little bit of like some subtle jabs from the dad towards Crispin about, and he's like, oh, did you get that? Like some kind of scholarship or something like that. And Crispin, like, it seems like there's a little bit of like weird tension.
Well, like I thought, because like that goes up, and then you have that dinner scene where he talks about them ending like this clinic they were doing because he started dating a student. So like I thought that was just a jab because fucking Creeper McCreepington was dating a student. Like I thought that was just a setup for that.
No, and to your point, Mary, there's also the point when the daughter gets there, she immediately goes to the mom and says, look, I've lost weight. Like there's some stuff going on.
Oh, she does. I missed that line. I missed that line. But
yeah, there's like really subtle, like just a couple lines here and there where you can see that they're like all kind of trying to impress the parents, and that the parents, like so I don't know. I think there's some little interesting things there. Yeah. Maybe somebody wasn't paying attention, even though he.
But they're not Satanists. They're not Satanists. That's what we need.
Yeah, they're not Satanists.
And they didn't blow up.
I wish. Yeah, and I think I could see if there is stuff cut, it definitely had to do with Barbara Crampton, right? Because like she obviously has some trauma that we don't know about because she's on medication. And I'm not, listen, I've been on medication. I'm not trying to, but like people say that in a movie when you want to quickly get to a point about someone having something happen to them. So I was waiting for the explanation. And then with her overreacting, and I say that like that because it turns out there was someone in the house, but with her overreacting, I'm just going to assume there was either a past like attack or like invasion or something happened that is making her a little skittish and scared or whatever, and this, that, and the other thing. But we probably lost all that in some kind of backstory.
I was literally going to bring that up because like she has such this overreaction and the husband sends her outside, and then like he's like, I'm going to take this weapon and whatever. And then he's just like, and then like when she goes outside, he like almost does like a fucking sitcom, like, like you know
these women.
Yeah. And then he just like nonchalantly bounces up the steps like he's whatever. And but then he's upstairs also. He's like, oh, and I'm like, that's such a weird cut. Like that's such a weird. So like that makes a lot of sense that they cut a bunch of stuff. Cause like it was just because like I said, it was almost like The Office. Like you had that Jim eye roll where he like almost looks for the camera. Like,
Office.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I think what they cut out was that the dad was the leader of a 70s cult that Nicolas Cage had come back from hell in order to attack him. Oh my God. But they cut all that out, unfortunately. So the other thing I had, and I don't know if Eli had the same reaction I did, but they had a lot of unique tools. We talked about this when we did Hatchet 2. Like there was some very interesting tools brought into play in this movie, like the meat tenderizer. Like that was her primary weapon for most of the movie, was this meat tenderizer. But then the killers come in. They don't come in with an axe, but they come in with like a 5-pound maul, and she's swinging that bad boy like it's a baseball bat. And I'm so distracted the whole time because I'm a hillbilly nerd that like why would they choose a maul? It's like the props guy just grabbed a bladed handled thing and said, here's an axe. That's not an axe. There's no way you're going to be wielding that through the movie until she hangs it from the door. And then it makes more sense that they got a maul. But I just thought that was a funny choice.
Jamie thought it was an axe because Jamie's city folk and had no fucking clue and was just like, oh, it's an axe. Yeah, Mary is an axe. I could wield that shit. Come on. I can't. I can't.
Cut fire with that. You will realize very quickly that is not an axe.
Yeah, well, she uses a lot of things in this movie, so I'll let her and that to get that scene of her holding, I guess that's the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
The scene of her standing in the window,
of course,
that they use for the everything promotionally for this.
It's a great shot, but I love that even when she hung it from the door for her elaborate Home Alone kill, which I'm glad we at least got payoff on. I was getting really close to being worried that was never going to pay off. But when she hung it up there, she actually tied a brake to it to give it extra weight. Mm-hmm. So the physics were there. I mean, it's obvious that whatever survival school she went to was top shelf.
The best survivor school that could exist. Not a moment, guys. Not a moment in this movie where this girl questions a thing. I started writing them down because of how fat, but then I was just but it's even when I don't remember what happens in one scene, but she jumps out that window without thinking twice. In most movies, you see people assess it or they look out the window. They look at, she's running and just fucking jumps out. She's like, I have two options. There's a guy here, or there's a window, survivalist going out that window. Whatever happens out that way is better than what's going to happen right here.
Got a huge piece of glass in her leg.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. I'll give you credit for that. But her common sense or intuition was hot trash, because someone would say something weird and she'd stare at them. She goes, I'll save you. And I'm like, that was a weird line. Even that brother, the way he was oh, you had a control, and they look at each other weird. But when the killer came in, he obviously wasn't going for them. And she was like, I saved you. And I'm like, or they went to the basement and he's like, oh, he's dead. They were down there or something. And she was like, I've been like, what? You were just you two? I didn't hear you screaming or anything. You don't look very upset. There's none of that. She was like, it was almost like I was watching Rambo, but if he had hit to the head with a brick, and he was just running from point A to point B, just doing stuff.
She knew what she was about. She had a plan.
She is just runs. She's checking all the windows there. And I love every time they start asking her things, because especially, when you watch this for a second time and you know that both brothers are in on it. So I love to watch movies like that at least once more, where now so you could catch the lines or what they say to each other, and you could take it from different contexts or different angle. But they start questioning, immediately Crispin's just what are you doing? And he looks concerned, and you think it's concerned for them. And it's concerned because this woman is taking every precaution to keep them fucking safe. And he's just what are you doing? And she's I'm making sure all the windows and doors are shut and locked and blah, blah, blah. And she's saying all this shit. And he's just oh, fuck.
This is going to be a problem.
Oh, fuck.
I love the boards that she made with the nails sticking up, so that that lives in my brain, and I'm always thinking I should just have those on on hand in case somebody would break in.
And Z's just watching her what is happening?
But
I when Z finally asked. She's can I why do you know all this? Because they're all concerned at this point, and it's just
But once again, that scene also, to my point, she makes those boards or whatever, and then she's all right, she's make another board. I'm gonna go upstairs and check her dad. She's oh, well, I can do it. She's oh, we'll go together. She's no, I'll just stay and make another board. And she was just oh, okay. That was such a weird moment. And she's just oh, she must change her mind. All right, I'm gonna go find dad. It's
well, yeah, but she doesn't have time to stand there and argue.
Yeah, she's got stuff to do.
Well, not argue, but I would maybe question a little bit, why are you being weird about this?
Well, because Z's a fucking weirdo, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's super weird.
Well, and I think it's hilarious in the kitchen when Felix and Z are fighting Aaron, and she throws the pot of water on Felix, and he goes, "It's not even hot, you idiot!" Right as she sweeps his legs out from under him and crashes him to the ground.
That is it's so good.
It's like you said earlier, Mary, there is not a moment in this movie where she's not doing exactly what she wants to do. She's in full control the entire movie.
It's great. It's great because watching it, knowing we were doing it for this purpose, and I know I've been stupid about rating, whatever, but watching it even with that angle, I was sitting here ready to pick on something, and we'll get there. But I was just all right, let's watch her a little critically. Let's see how she handles these. And to your point about asking about luck, Dave, I was watching all that shit. No, this girl fucking has this down. She assesses a situation. What is it in? Because we all watch it. What's in Perfect Getaway? The spatial awareness, whatever he calls the awareness.
Situational awareness.
Situational awareness.
He has the most amazing situational awareness. He would be so proud of her because she walks into a room and she knows what she's using, where it is, how she can use it, to what degree. And she's.
Oh, if they got together, they'd be unstoppable.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
But what happens? She gets cocky. and she's gonna kill somebody just because she can. And then look what happens to her.
All right, hold on. Before we get there, I do want to ask you guys really quick. If you were her and you went through all of that, and then Crispin came to you and, said, this was a setup and you kind of messed it up, but now it's just us and we're going to have
still be rich.
What would you do?
Kill him.
Jaime would still kill him. Eli, I just did all of this. Everybody's dead. Now we're going to be super, super rich. You can say you wouldn't do anything, but like you can just wink funny. So I
feel like if I was that girl, I'd be like, okay, got married, then killed him.
Okay.
Then you get all the money. And you don't have to live with the worst fucking villain ever seen in cinema history.
Yeah, at least he was too lame to even do anything. He ran away and hid. It's like, if you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Well, he's pretty yeah. Or you just want him to get caught, but I don't know. Then there's what if he doesn't get caught? Like I don't know.
Well, and when this movie stops at the end, I legit, the first time I saw this, I legit thought we were going to get a Night of the Living Dead ending where the cop shoots her. It's obvious that she's the one on the killing spree and has killed this family.
I hate
She's the outsider. And I'm like, oh crap, is that really what they're going to do with this movie? And they kind of do. Because she's screwed at the end. What story is she going to tell an attorney or the cops that is going to make any sense whatsoever after she, like we've talked about, she has killed everybody. She's never been the victim here, and her evidence is on all the situation.
Well, it's self-defense though every time,
except for
the last guy.
Husband. Yeah,
it's not he's a boyfriend
or boyfriend, whatever.
It is self-defense, and we're coming back to the moment because I know Mary and I want to talk about it, but like I do when I watch a lot of movies, which is dumb with horror. For some reason, I sit there at the end, and I did it with Ready or Not, which is a for all intents and purposes a supernatural ending. Let's just say to that movie. But I sit there and I go, "Oh fuck, is she fucked now?" Like when the cops, you always want to think that no, because Grace is like whatever. And in this movie, it hits me even harder, where you're just like, "Oh fuck, is she fucked now?"
Yeah,
because she's the only one like standing. But I've tried to like unless they imply that in a movie, I've gone in my mind with the happiest. No, she's the final. Like, no, she fucking got this done, and they're gonna all believe her. She's gonna go home and live a very content and happy life.
Open her own survival school.
Yeah, but anyway, it's funny you bring that up because I've started to, for some reason, when I end a movie, my brain goes, "Oh, the cops show up. She's going to jail." Like I do shit all the time in a movie that's so unrealistic. Again, Ready or Not, people fucking blow up, and I go, "Oh man, she might be going to jail for this." Because because
literally, when the cop comes in, she is killing him. It's not like
so. This one's a more defined moment.
Yeah,
Mary, do we have the same moment at the end of this movie?
I don't like the fact that her little trap kills the cop, and she's like, "No, don't," and then like, I don't care for that last.
There's no outside witness.
Yeah, because
I don't like that either, that last moment. And I don't like her being shot either. I think that's a dumb for a movie where we just watched her. I get it, but it irks me. That whole from her getting shot to the moment with the thing all kind of irks me as the end of this movie. Because
because we just watched you do this entire thing. We've been with you on this journey where you just did all of this stuff, and then it's kind of like really. So I don't love the very, very end.
Well, it's weird too because I even thought it was weird. Like the cop's not like, "Stop, no,
he just
don't." He just shoots her and is like, "Well, better call us in." And it's like, because for a second I was like, "Oh, the fucking cop's in on it now too." Like this whole town or something. You're gonna find out it's in on this fucking plan. And it was like, "Oh no, he just shot her." Okay.
But at least she lives. So Dave, I would have had a huge problem if she would have died there. And it would have probably colored my whole opinion of this movie. Because like Mary just said, you are with this girl. And this movie is kind of a comedy. I don't need a downer ending like that. We know I love a good downer ending. Yeah. But I don't need a downer ending when this is a fucking comedy. Yeah. And she is taking them out. They thought they had her bested. She was going to be the victim. They literally tell her that. You were going to be the witness and the victim who was going to, and she's like, "Fuck no, I'm not." And we get this whole thing. And then if she would have been taken out like that, I would have been so, and that happens. You have a movie where you enjoy, and then you get to the ending and you're like, oh, fuck this. Like, this just changed the whole movie for me. Like, you know.
Yeah, even like I mentioned with Night of the Living Dead, a classic. Everybody has seen that movie, but that ending is still hard. I mean, that's the reason the movie is kind of last. I mean, it's the reason it's still an important film. I totally get that. And I totally got what George was doing, but that is such a gut wrenching scene because it's literally, it happens and then they just go on with their lives. Like there is no resolution other than the hero just got murdered.
And we've watched movies like that, and I can't, like, there's definitely one, and I can't think of what it is, where that literally has happened. Maybe not to that, but something at the end made me just dislike the whole movie because of taking that ride, like Mary just said, and then you get there and you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? Again, thank God. I mean, this one still did a little bit. The ending does irk me, but the fact that she at least is still breathing and moving and like starts, you got to hope that, okay, now the next set of cops show up and she explains everything to them and then everything's like, okay.
And why wouldn't they believe? Yeah. It's not like her fingerprints are on everybody.
And you have a police issued bullet in your gut.
Well, I would have just preferred if, like, you know, she killed Crispin or whatever and then was starting to walk out and then her axe or whatever fell and she just kind of was like, oh, like I almost forgot about that. And then she just kept like walking out or something like that where anything but they did.
Yeah.
Or even if she had like stabbed Crispin and he had the scream moment where he jumped back up and leaped at her as the Maul falls out of the door and splits his head.
Oh yeah, that would have been a good thing. Yeah. I think I think in a movie like this where like Dave is saying like she can't even get out of it. I don't even want to think about that. I think a movie like this ends after she kills him in whatever way. Like Mary said, she just walks out the door, whatever it is, because then you just get that like you could only imagine what
she's
happens
the
to her
champ.
once she like she's done and she's out of this and like whatever. But again, and also because it's a comedy, you don't want a fucking downer stupid ending. Like it's a comedy. Like this whole thing to an extent. But it is like it's got comedic writing in it. It's been dumb for putting a blender on someone's head is not serious. So like, you know.
Yeah, I agree completely. And you almost get the sense that the director and the screenwriter were aware of that. Like when it happens and the cop shoots her, you can almost feel the director going, oh crap, what have we done? Literally, there's only one narrative now, is that she is the murderer and the cops. So, and then they kind of backpedal that. But I agree that any momentum or any direction that the movie had there at the ending just kind of falls off a cliff. But that's part of it. I'm 100% with you all. In my brain, this is the movie that it is a fun movie and it doesn't deserve to get the whole Erin went to jail for life for killing this family. And she's going to do the whole, getting buff in prison so she can come out and exact revenge on a survivor or something. Like, no, that's not what happened. Erin goes off and she goes back to survival camp and she trains this new series of classes. Like Eli said in the past, she has a new 90-year course.
I think she'll be able to show through text. They'll be able to go through everything.
The cell phones, they'll find.
Yeah, and there's the weird masks and everything. They'll be able to piece it together.
They'll find proof that the brothers planned it because they planned it somehow. For all intents and purposes, they don't live near each other. It seems nobody in this family is like. So these brothers are morons. It seems so. Like they planned this over email. So it's like in his probably college email. He probably used his work email to plan this because he's so dumb.
The other thing they could, even if they just look around, they're like, okay, well, all right, there's a bunch of normal people dead, and there's also these three gentlemen who are wearing
all black
gear, covered in weapons, and have these weird bad guy turtlenecks that has ear holes, which bothered me more than anything, wearing animal masks.
Who have phone records to these two brothers.
Yeah.
Well, and that is the one thing she has going for her. She has absolutely zero motive. I mean, nobody's going to argue. There's no reason for her to have killed all of these people. She doesn't get
It's not
anything.
Like she was married to Crispin at the time or anything.
So I think we can all sleep well tonight knowing that Erin is the hero and that's the way the movie ends, period. Right?
Yeah. She survives and then she goes back to Home Depot to live with the other planks.
I mean, she is a highly successful and efficient serial killer, but it seems to only pop off in the right kind of moments for sure.
So is the planks that fall off the top shelf and hit people in the heads. You know what I mean?
I see you trying to make your lumber references. I think you're just being hurtful. I think
I wouldn't call her a plank. I'm sorry. Like I think she's got enough.
She had about as much personality as my desk, which is also made from wood.
No, we get it.
Listen, I've had some where I've agreed with you and I've even used the term in your honor, but like this one, she may not be the most likable person. She doesn't have to be. Like that's a lot of your, why aren't like, maybe not a lot. I don't watch a lot of them, so I can't argue this point. But I feel like a lot of your male action heroes don't have the greatest personality. 100%. They just do what they fucking do. And so that's what she does.
They don't.
They're all planks. I know.
They're all planks. Like that's
but like,
you know who has no personality? Laurie Strode.
How dare you? She's America's sweetheart.
She doesn't. We've discussed this. She has no personality.
She's just a quiet little nerd who likes to read and wants to do good in school.
Yeah.
I'm Laurie Strode.
I think Mary and Jaime would agree with me on this. She has she has more personality and more gravitas than Aragorn, right?
Okay, first off.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
First off, no. No, guy.
Oh, boy.
First off, no. Secondly, how dare you? Thirdly, who do you think you are? I want to know.
All right. So for the moment, all Jaime has been waiting for. Let's get into this survival school scorecard. And we're going to put Aaron on the board.
With Eli. Yeah, I'm ready to fight.
For those that haven't been keeping up, I'll give you the scores of the first two survivors that we talked about. First, we had for Scream, Sydney Prescott, still at the top of the leaderboard at 7.25 overall for her score. Very respectable score. Surprising, Laurie Strode, the original Scream Queen, only carrying a 3.92 right now, Mary. I mean, I don't know. It's not high. I mean, if
your way of surviving is crying in a closet, sure, she should be at a 9. But
hey, she killed the boogeyman. Excuse me.
But she didn't even kill him.
Well, listen,
she poked him in the eye.
But the accuracy, she stabbed him in the eye in the dark with a knitting needle.
Look, we've had the conversation about luck in this.
It's like an assassin.
So let's put Aaron on the board. And Mary, what we do with the scorecard is I'm going to give you a characteristic of a survivor in a horror movie. I've got 6 aspects of survivors that across the board, and you're going to give me a 1 to 10 grade on that characteristic for the character in this movie. And we're going to let Jaime start up because she's just giddy. I can see it on her face. We're going to start with endurance. What does Aaron get for endurance, Jaime?
10. This girl does not stop.
10. Shot, stabbed,
glass sticking out of her leg, jumping out windows. This girl gets a 10. And listen, Eli, before you start, remember that I think Sydney Prescott is epitome of final girl, but fucking Aaron, man, I've been waiting to rate this girl just because this movie, I'm giving her, I don't even think I gave Sydney a 10.
You did.
I did. Okay.
You did give her a 10.
I was balancing someone who was trying to give her bad ratings.
Look at that.
Eli, where does she land?
She's not Superman. I'll give her an 8.5.
8.5. You've gone into the decimals.
Yeah, we're doing 0.5s now.
Yeah,
okay. Wait till I give someone a 7.32 or something.
Mary, what do you think? Endurance. Where does Aaron land?
I'll give her a 9.
A 9. I agree. Yeah. I've got her for an 8 myself. Let's see.
Oh, look at that.
The next one we've got, and we'll let Mary start with this one, is evasion. How did you do with evasion?
I'll do another 9.
A 9. Jaime?
I'm going to do evasion. They do get, but she, 8.
Okay. Eli?
I would have to do an 8 as well.
And that's what I had her for. Interesting enough, because when I thought about it, and we hit this in the review section of this, evasion is about getting away. And when she freaking jumps out of a second-story window in order to get away, you got to give high marks for that. I mean, she didn't even think about it. I mean, she could have broken her back, but she didn't care. She was getting away from the killer.
How fast she ran out that window. That was comical, amazing to me. That just
that was full Wile E. Coyote.
Oh yeah, she assessed. That was again that situational awareness. She literally said, A, problem B, which one's the lesser of two evils, and then just went.
I'm out.
Like in 2 seconds, she made that decision.
So on luck, I gave her a 3 because she's not lucky by any stretch of the imagination. Luck does not play in at all in what she's doing here. All right, Eli, what do you have her?
I would give her a 6 because
A 6?
she did get lucky because the people playing this were all stupid. The killers they hired were stupid, and everyone they were related to in the house was stupid.
She was lucky they were incompetent.
She was lucky that she was surrounded by incompetence.
All right. I can see what he's doing now, Jaime. You're gonna have to.
I do. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It was Mary next or me. I was just counterpointing Eli. I don't think she has any luck in this, to be honest. I think it's all her talent and skills. So I feel like I had a point that I was going to argue about her luck. In fact, I did. I said something about her. I thought I said something about the one bad luck she has, and now I don't have it anymore. But because I knew you were going to ask about luck. But it's the one bad instinct she had. I don't think luck plays in her favor at all in this, right? Or either way. I think it's one of those that has no really. So I'm going to give her like a 3 or 2 or 3, I guess, on luck. There's no luck in this. She doesn't.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
no luck.
Even to the point of when she jumped out the window, she almost took her own leg off.
Yeah, there's no luck. She didn't land in a bush to cushion her fall. That would be luck. Like there was no luck in this for her at all.
Mary, what do you think? Was she lucky?
The only thing I would say in terms of luck is that the house was stocked with things that she was able to use in terms of her survival skills. And thankfully, she already had that knowledge. So it's kind of like, so I'm going to give her like a 3 for that.
Okay. She was lucky that she grew up in survival camp, right?
She was lucky she knew how to utilize what she had.
War luck.
All right. Here's the big one, Mary. Weapon skill. How does Aaron rank on weapon skill?
10.
10. Hard to argue with the blender to the head. Jaime?
Yeah, 10. The moment the blender comes in is when it becomes a 10. It's like a 9. And then you're like, if you can go into a kitchen and use the water on the stove and use the blender, like all that in that scene makes it just a 10.
Without having to think about it. She just does it.
Oh my God. You know what a scene it is too? While she's fighting, she picks up the pan or pot and smacks the girl in the back of the head while she's like handling the other shit. It's a 10. She's just, it's fucking, that kitchen scene is amazing actually. And I feel like the choreography of that kitchen scene is amazing. Like it's just the way things all happen. Yeah. So anyway, 10.
Eli?
I hate this right now. I hate it. I'd have to give her a 10.
Eli, wow. I'm so proud of you.
I told you I would be honest.
Yeah, you are. You're being honest. You're being honest. Although I don't know that you were honest with Lori, but okay.
And I gave her a 10. I mean, she's our first 10 across the board.
That's it. Yeah.
And just you speaking about choreography, I just had to say, I don't know if anybody knows, she's a dancer.
Oh.
In real life, you mean?
Yeah. She was in one of the Step Up sequels, and she's a very good dancer. So I think that's why she's kind of like super buff and got all those moves. Yeah. So.
Well, and it's a funny piece of trivia that apparently in real life, she and the Wendy who played Z are real-time roommates and best friends, or they were at the time.
That's adorable.
Which is hilarious to think about those two living as roommates. All right, for the next one, I'm going to go first because I haven't yet. Intuition. Now, this was hard for me. I put her down as a 5 because there are moments when she does seem very aware, but she's very trusting of this family at the same time. Like the spidey senses don't seem to be picking up on the fact that her boyfriend is in on the kills. So I gave her a 5. I put her right down the middle. All right, Eli.
I would go with a 3.
A 3. Ooh. Jaime.
So I see what you're saying. And Eli said that earlier about her not like, we are correct that like this family is a little bit suspicious. I'm going to also though she's in survival mode. And sometimes like, I feel like she's just taking action and not really thinking about the dumb things this family is saying, because they are fairly dumb. They fought about being fat and dating a TA and like underground movies. And like, she doesn't know this family. So maybe this is just the way they talk. Like, maybe they're just fucking dumb. Like she literally does not know.
She's just working a plan.
I get her boyfriend thing, but that's in a lot of movies. Like fucking, how do you not know your boyfriend is a serial killer?
That's how you get there. You kind of have to have that.
Yeah, you have to have that moment. So, but I think we're forgetting that part of survival skills are also intuition, right? Like, I mean, that's intuition.
Yeah,
everything she does in this movie is her intuition. And as far as those go, like, that was all amazing. So I can't give her such a low score just because because this dumb family she didn't catch were like 2 of them were in on it. Because think about it, she's at a table with like 10 people. Only 2 of them are in on it. And 1 disappears for most of the movie. So how is she really? Oh, no, 3 of them. Sorry. 3 of them are in on it. So anyway, intuition, I'm going with 7.
7. All right.
Yep.
Oh, now who's lying?
No.
Mary.
Dave, I'm going to go with a 5.
A 5. Okay.
Yeah.
That's, she wasn't wrong. She wasn't right. She was right down the middle. That's kind of why I landed there. That's the way I reasoned it out to myself. It was a non-contributing factor in her survival.
Yeah, she was just doing what she needed to do.
Yeah, she was working a plan.
She was reacting to what was happening.
Exactly. All right. And then finally, and Mary, will let you go first this time, influence. And this, just as an explanation, influence for a survivor is her ability to use the people around her to either get more information or survive longer. So how influential was Erin?
I'm going to go with Eli. Don't give me that look. I'm going to go with like a 6, maybe.
Okay.
And I can't even explain why. Don't even give me that look. Don't give me that look.
He's got all the looks. All right, Eli.
I would say like a 3.
A 3?
She didn't influence anybody hardly. She was a one-man army.
I argue that one on you, but Dave, if you want to go first.
Okay, I'll go first. And again, this was just because, and this happened in Halloween too, if it was a non-contributing aspect of their survival, I put them in as a 5, and that's what I put her down. This one is, I don't think her influence. So she didn't need anybody else there to do what she did. You know what I'm saying? It didn't play into her survival.
Fair. I get what you're saying.
And no
I was
one
more
listened
thinking,
to her.
yes, they did. So here's what I was about to say: is in the beginning scene, the table gets attacked. If she's telling people to get down, they get down. She's handling the wounds. They're listening to her. Now keep in mind, these people that don't know the family's in on it.
Mm-hmm.
And like
hiding behind the chairs to get out of the room.
Yep. She tells them to do that. Like and people are listening to her because she's the only one that seems to know how to handle this situation. Hide the guy behind the curtain. I know some people are in on it, but like some are not in this movie. So it's hard to like, and even the ones in on it, obviously they're going along with her. So she's not suspicious, but like, I don't know. Z also didn't have to fucking actually make boards with her. Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, you know, but I'm just going by the beginning because I get it. People are in on it with her and whatever, and they don't have to. But like in that beginning, I wrote down how quickly she takes action. She pulls people under the table. She crawls under it, like using the chairs, all that shit. So I can't just say she's got no influence because if these people lasted throughout the movie, I think they would have listened to her.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, sorry to cut you off, but Crispin said, like, I didn't expect this to happen, so I freaked out and ran away. Like, yeah. So, like,
yeah,
part
we
of
off
like,
script.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So,
I can't give her. I'm gonna give her a.
Jamie's doing the math in her head.
No, I'm not. I can't even do that math that fast. I know I have to constantly counter Eli, but I'm not doing that on purpose. I just, I'm trying to think because I'm trying to think also if she tells the dad to do something and he does, you know what I mean? Like, and if these people also survived, I think they would have listened to her a little bit more. You're all going to yell at me if I gave her like a 9, which I'm absolutely not. But like, I feel like she deserves a 6 or a 7 for this because I think her influence would have, if people weren't in on it, I think they would have fucking listened to her. So I'm giving her a 7. Sorry,
7
Eli.
And if I was 3 feet taller, I'd need bigger pants.
I don't even know what that means. All right. Got the totals. Mary has Erin down at a 7.67. Eli has Aaron down as a 6.08. I have Aaron down as a 6.83. And Jaime, the highest scorer this week, 8.17, which means, and I thought it was going to be an upset, but she comes in right under Miss Sydney Prescott at
What?
a 7.19.
I thought she was, wow.
Wow.
You have your buddy Eli to thank for that.
I knew that was going to happen. But yeah,
I did it honestly.
You did, but I thought she was going to not blow Sydney away, but I thought this was going to be number one just based on just everything she accomplishes in this movie.
Yeah,
but
literally,
I'm actually,
it's tight.
What is it again? Can you tell me the two, Sydney and her?
Yeah, Sydney is a 7.25. Lori was a 3.92. And Aaron now officially on the board at 7.19.
Wow, that's
close. Yeah. Because I think Aaron it would be a good fight between Sydney and Aaron.
Uh-huh. It depends on who has home turf for sure.
Oh, Aaron would destroy Sydney, I think. And
Yeah.
I love Sydney, but Aaron would just,
Same.
That's why I was shocked that we didn't just have Aaron. Because in this movie, like Eli even pointed out, she is a fucking superhuman. Like it's abnormal the things she does. But I guess
the only way Sydney could actually win very easily because of her poor intuition. All Sydney would say is, "Oh, there's a killer above you." She goes, "There is," and she'd look up and then Sydney could throat stab her. That's it. That's how you win that. It's such an easy fight. She's got the intuition of a mattress. Like it's not good.
I'm surprised they were so close, though. I actually thought that was going to be like.
It's tight. We're coming down to the wire. I am imagining, because I'm going to put it, obviously, after next week when we finalize, I'm going to put a graphic together to announce our champions for Survival School. I have to imagine we're going to get some hate mail from the social medias once we put that out. So
when Sydney is number one or whatever. Like
exactly.
And not Lori. And Laurie Strode is number 4.
Yeah, she's like half of what the other people have. But hey, these hips don't lie, as they say. So before we get into planning for next week, let's talk about what's coming in just a few days on Thursday in Campfire Tales. What do you got for us, Eli?
Well, as you know, we have picked a new slasher. We have picked a new Final Girl. And so I thought, what better in our slasher movie we are creating? TM hashtag no one take our ideas. This is a real movie coming. Call us a good director and not Eli Roth.
Or Ty West.
Or Ty West. Or Nicolas Cage. A lot of times when these slashers end up going to series, a common thing they always say is, this land is cursed. The Myers home was cursed. Crystal Lake was cursed. Woodsboro was cursed. So I found a list of cursed places that is already established as being cursed that we can just
pick a place,
kind of take over.
Still playing that Harbinger role, aren't you, Eli?
Listen, I just want to warn people, okay? And if you're in one of these towns, get out.
Just doing the Lord's work here. I appreciate that.
Listen, I don't want to say at the end of Survivor camp here that I may be the winner, but it's a possibility.
I do want to see you riding a bicycle through town screaming at people. Mary, can we make that happen? Can we
Wait,
make that video happen?
why do I have to be that? I don't want to be the bike rider. Can't I do something cool? Like
no, you're 100% the bike rider with the bucket hat. With the bucket hat.
Mm-hmm.
No, why can't I be like a radio DJ?
What movie has had a Harbinger who's a radio DJ?
I could be the first.
I'm sorry, that is not the role.
I could be the first.
I don't make the rules,
No,
but by God, I'll make sure you follow them.
Hey, you should be on my side, Mary, okay?
I never am. You should know by now.
Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for Mary for coming back for Camp Wicked Wild this week. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Love it. If you've enjoyed the show, we ask that you subscribe, rate the show, give us a comment in your review on whatever podcasting platform you listen to. If you want to learn more about us, you can go to our website. I'm sorry. I mean, it's literally been a year since I've touched the thing. I don't even know what's there anymore, but there is some information about our hosts and some book reviews and movie reviews and some, if you like that reading nonsense, we've got some stuff you can read over there. Otherwise, there's really no reason to go there. Let's just be real. You can follow us on social media. We're on X at Wicked While We Are, Slasher, the horror only community at Wicked While We Are there as well. We're on Instagram at Wicked Wild Pod. And if you enjoy the moving pictures with your podcast, you can go over to YouTube and just search the Wicked Wild Podcast and you'll find us there. If If you have any direct message, or if you want to start a conversation or give us your feedback or tell us all the ways we are wrong about how we're rating these survivors in camp this year, you can send me an email at podcast@thewickedwild.com. And I'm sorry, I just thought of this, Eli. You had mentioned it's obviously it left a mark on you that this mother had the audacity to send Aaron to the neighbor's house to get milk. Like, he brought it up 3 different times.
It's dumb.
It's like she had to go walking there. But you know why she didn't do that? Is because she's lactose intolerant.
Oh my God. Ah!
Yeah, that's why it fell off. She wasn't going to do that because milk gives her a strong dairy hair.
One of these days.
Good night.